Welcome home. What does it mean to welcome someone home? The dictionary describes it in this way. A reception, usually of a cordial nature, provided to celebrate the return home of a person. An expression of welcome made at a person's homecoming. But what does having a home really mean? For those of us with a home, it is difficult to imagine what it is like not to have a place to get ready for work, prepare meals, take care of basic hygienic needs, gather with friends, do homework, or get the rest we need. Please join us for a few minutes as we explore the causes of homelessness, the people who experience it, and the solutions of ending homelessness permanently. Then ask yourself, what can I do to welcome someone home? The reasons are complex and the result of the cumulative impact of several factors. At a basic level, people become homeless when people cannot afford to pay for their housing. Their wages and income are not enough to cover rent or mortgage and other necessities. Systemic issues such as public policy, poverty, and racial inequality are among the root causes of homelessness. Personal circumstances and life events can also propel an individual or family into homelessness, including lack of income due to low-paying jobs or layoffs, a serious illness or accident, divorce, evictions and foreclosures, and natural disasters. Here are a few examples of the causes of homelessness that illustrate that homelessness can happen to anyone. For those who are low income but employed, wages have been stagnant and have not kept pace with the expensive housing costs. These households often do not earn enough to pay for food, clothing, transportation, and a place that they can call home. Poverty can mean a person is one illness, one accident, or one paycheck away from living unsheltered. More than ever, there is a lack of housing that people with low income can afford. In New Mexico, for every 100 renters with extremely low incomes, there are only 47 units available to rent. As the gap between increasing housing costs and stagnant incomes widens, the end result is that more people become homeless. Here in New Mexico, 22.5% of people are extremely cost burdened. Health and homelessness are inextricably linked. Health problems, such as an acute physical or behavioral health crisis, or any long-term disabling condition, can cause a person's homelessness as well as be exacerbated by the experience. A person can become chronically homeless when his or her health condition becomes disabling and stable housing is too difficult to maintain without access to adequate resources. Persons experiencing domestic violence, particularly women and children with limited economic resources, are at increased vulnerability to homelessness. For many, it is the immediate cause of their homelessness as they escape an abusive relationship. Nationally, approximately half of all women and children experiencing homelessness are fleeing domestic violence. Landlords also sometimes turn victims of domestic violence out of their homes because of domestic violence against them. Most minority groups in the United States experience homelessness at a higher rate than whites, and therefore make up a disproportionate share of the homeless population. In the U.S., African Americans make up 40% of the homeless population, despite only representing 13% of the general population. Here in Albuquerque, Native Americans represent 19% of the homeless, but only 4% of the general population. The effects of long-standing discrimination perpetuate disparities in poverty, housing, criminal justice, and healthcare, among other areas. These disparities in turn can contribute to increased homelessness. Here are some examples of other groups that are particularly vulnerable to homelessness. Estimates show that LGBTQ youth comprise up to 40% of the total unaccompanied homeless youth population, even though they make up 5 to 10% of the overall youth population. Contributing to this is family rejection based on sexual orientation and gender identity, and/or being forced out by their parents after coming out. Formerly incarcerated people are almost 10 times more likely to become homeless than the general public due to barriers of employment, discrimination, and affordable housing shortages. Rural homelessness, like urban homelessness, is the result of lack of affordable housing and poverty-level income. People experiencing rural homelessness are less likely to live on the street or in a shelter and are more likely to live in a car or a camper or with relatives in overcrowded or substandard housing.